Today we're going to be working on integrated rate law problems and we're going to be graphing them using Google Sheets. So we need to learn how to work with Google Sheets. And it's a little temperamental, I'm not sure why, but I will show you the ins and outs. So as a reminder, we have integrated our zero order, first order, and second order rate laws, and we get these formulas. These formulas listed here are in y equals mx plus b, so we could graph them, but of course sometimes you see them in a different arrangement. Okay, so we're going to start with our zero order rate law. Now, in order to do these problems, I need to graph all three scenarios. Concentration versus time. If that's a straight line, it will give me a zero order rate law. If we do natural log of concentration and versus time, and that's the straight line, then it would be a first order overall. And if it's 1 over concentration gives me a straight line, it would be a second order. So the first thing we need to know is to use the formulas. So we want to do the natural log, and we're always going to start our formulas with equals in a spreadsheet, natural log, and then we are going to use that open parenthesis, and that allows me to choose the data cell I want the natural log of. So I'm going to choose my concentration right there and hit enter, and it gives me my first data point. Now, something that's really nice is I can take that, I can copy it all the way down, and it will switch the cell order based on what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, so what I didn't tell you is when I do this, I go Control C for copy, and then I bring it all the way down and I hit Control V for paste, and there it is. Okay, so here I want 1 over concentration, so I'm going to hit equals to start my formula. 1 divided by, and then if you do your open parenthesis, it should allow you to pick that cell. That's not the cell I want. I'm going to go over there and pick 1 over concentration and hit enter. And then I'm going to control copy that cell, and I am going to paste it all the way down. Okay, so now it's populated all my graphs, and I'll show you how to make these graphs in a moment. But the first thing we need to know is this is our straight line. And the way we're going to do slope is we're going to put slope equals right there so I can label what I'm looking at. And then for here, you notice my formula is right here, but I'm going to do it for you again. Okay, so let's go back. And I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to start my formula equals slope, slope, parenthesis. And then what I want to do is I want to pick my, remember, slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So I need to do my y first, and that's that whole data set. So that's in there, and then you have to put a comma, okay? And now I'm going to hit my x. So my x is time, okay? And now I have my y over my x. And when I put it in, it gives me this negative 0.06. Now remember, my k is equal to the negative slope, or the negative slope equals k. So I take the negative slope, and my k is 0.06 molarity per second. Make sure that you use the right unit. So now let's work on our graphing. So I'm going to move this little graph over here, and I'm going to remake it for you. Okay, so this first one is quite easy. I'm going to highlight everything, including my labels right here. Okay, time and concentration, and hopefully, it doesn't always, but hopefully it will make that label for you. And I'm going to hit insert, and I'm going to hit chart. Okay, and actually that one came up exactly the way my other did. It's labeled, it's beautiful. But what's going to happen a lot of times for you is it's going to come up looking all wonky. And what you want to do is you want to hit these three dots. Some people call it the hamburger. You want to hit edit chart, and this setup's going to come up. I'm going to change that to not this line, but the smooth line graph. Okay, and then you may have multiple things going on here, which means you might see multiple lines here. We only want one line, so make sure your x-axis is time. It'll give you things to look for there. And then make sure your y-axis, this series, is considered your y-axis, and there should only be one, and see, it gives you multiple choices. And so just pick what you want for your Y, which is going to be our AR concentration. Okay. Now, the other thing I'm going to show you is how to customize this. So we can customize and we can change our axis titles. Hopefully it's there for you and you won't have to type it. But what we want to do is we want to look at series, and this is a shortcut for doing the slope, and this is fine too, but I don't trust Google Sheets all the time with my graphs. So we're in series, and this is how we can add in that y equals mx plus b formula. And what you want to do is you want to hit trend line. And then for our trend line, we're going to label our trend line using the equation, which is going to give us our slope format. So right here, y equals mx plus b. And of course, m is my slope, which is negative 0.06, which is something we've already calculated. Okay, now the other problem that could happen is this could go from 0 to 100, and then your line is all squished on the bottom here. And what you want to do then is you want to customize, and you want to go to your vertical axis, and the only thing that you want to do is put in your maximum value. So right now my maximum value is 1. And we can put that in, and then you want to allow bounds to hide data. So that could be another problem you might have in graphing. Okay, now I've already done this chart, so I'm going to delete that chart because it's already, oh, I didn't. I got rid of it. Okay, there it is again. And now I'm going to go to my second page, which is my first order. And right here is our graph. Notice I have all my equations already set up and done, which you will have to do. And then since this is my correct graph, I'm going to hit slope equals. And what I've put in here is my slope is now going to equal my y-axis, which happens to be my C. Okay, that's my y-axis, comma, x-axis, which is my time. So make sure your slope is correct according to the graph we're making, okay? Because this is my straight line, so my y is natural log of a, okay? And just to show you, oh wait, let's go back and make sure you know that K for a first order is the negative slope, and the units are over molarity seconds. So it's 0.6 per molarity second. That's what the negative means. Okay, so now to go back and do that slope quickly, I can hit my little hamburger. I can edit my chart, and when we want to do the chart, we're going to customize this series. We are going to go down to trend line. We are going to label it with the equation. And again, I have the same slope that I did before, and my K is equal to the negative slope for there, okay? So when we do our problems, make sure you're doing all your sheets. Here's sheet 1, and there are problems below it, sheet 2, and sheet 3. And again, scroll through and make sure that you are getting through all the problems.